From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Morreale and Hitch.
Welcome, everybody, to Morreale and Hitch podcast on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm here with Rob Hitchcock, David Butko, myself, Mike Morreale. Hey, we've been away for a few weeks, Rob. They gave us a vacation, Unpaid.
Yeah.
It was an unpaid vacation.
Yeah. They did not want us doing shows anymore.
Not
I
a
don't think
chance.
they want us doing shows anymore. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's what they want or what they don't. It's when we feel like it. Today we got a great guest coming up.
Yeah.
Cats, the problem is when we don't go on air for like 2 weeks, we miss a lot. So if we went on last week, we could have talked a lot about the great victory and against Winnipeg and all that stuff. Instead, we're not on. That's a major error. And then we go on this week, and what are we going to talk about? What happened last game? Not so good.
No.
Not so good.
No, they're... We always do a little recap on that. But again, 2 weeks ago, what a game against Winnipeg. Totally different team.
Crushed them. Like, unbelievable. They did the same to BC, who was a good team. And we weren't on air, I don't think, that week either. No. So maybe we don't go on. No, maybe, we were on. Maybe
the
show disappears.
It doesn't matter. But I'm telling you, they put a full game together against Winnipeg, and then last week against Toronto. Holy shit! Like Toronto's. Everyone. We've been saying it for the last 4 weeks. We're like, whatever. It's their 7.
And we got to admit they're good. They're good.
They're good.
It's 12
How
and
about
1,
Kelly though? How about Kelly? His eyebrow. Like he looks mad all the time.
All the time.
He's got this scoundrel face on him. He's like, he looks pissed off. I heard he's a pretty good competitor, and being at the quarterback position to have that grit, he's definitely set. Now, he deserves to be the highest paid player in the league right now.
He's proven it. He's proven it coming off a Grey Cup too. So I mean, you can't deny that. It is what it is. But still a chance. Still a big chance, not even a small chance, still a very reasonable chance at, I guess compounded with the fact that they lost, but that Montreal won was the big punch in the gut. Yeah. So still within a game. Montreal's got the season series. That's the one big thing. So getting into second will be more difficult. First is obviously locked up by Toronto. Third would be great. Listen, you just got to make the playoffs, and then you're traveling to Montreal, and that's what happened last year, and so on and so forth. So, the CFL is just get to the playoffs, and then from there, anything can happen. So, some tough games ahead, but stuff happens, and for you and I, we got work to do regardless, win or lose.
I know. I'm still not sold. I don't know. The culture I know is probably awesome. The identity of the team. I don't know who they want to be right now.
I know.
It's for me it's frustrating because can you imagine for Owen and Mark Washington and the rest of the coaching staff to know what kind of talent you have. But again, I'm not going to put it Powell's. I mean, God, you throw him into the fire week 1, and what do you expect him to do? Of course, he won some games for them. Like he's doing his job. No one expected him to be 8-1 since he's been in there. But when you don't have a quarterback in this league, it is proven. And I'm not saying Powell's not a quarterback. He's proven himself. But you need
number one.
You and I know you need that experience. You need the grit, and you need the players to look up and buy into that guy, and they are now. I mean, they have to, right? Yeah. They have to. So it just frustrates me watching them on D. Frustrates me.
It's frustrating. We understand. Like we sugarcoat, I think, the way we really feel at times, because the truth is we know what it's like to be on that field and have the identity. Like we knew offensively that our defense was going to take care of business. Without a doubt, it did not matter. And if we put you in a hole, it didn't matter. You'd get yourself out of it, and we'd turn around and return the favor somewhere down the line. I don't feel that in this team. I don't feel that cohesiveness. Now, it may change, and they can go on a run to win the next, whatever remaining games. And that identity could still be found. But boy, that is that's kind of inherent. Like it should be there already, and to what it's like to lose as an offensive player, to lose your starting quarterback and then to lose more quarterbacks, and then have a young guy come in, and of course you support him and you do all that stuff. But it takes the wind out of your sails, man. It takes the wind out. It wasn't the game plan, starting in May.
No, like you said, from 98 to 01, 02, it didn't matter what we did or you did. You guys threw, I think Danny Mac threw 32 picks in the Grey Cup.
Didn't matter.
32 picks and threw for 50-something touchdowns or whatever it was. But do you think we cared as a D? 32, we were out there a lot on change of possession, and we just went out, got the ball back for them, go down and score.
That's it. Had a few beers after, that's it. Life was good. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, listen, let's change the topic. There's some good things. I don't know if you saw the recent news. Carrie Underwood.
Of course.
Carrie Underwood. Now, her husband is that Mike, what's his name? That hockey guy.
Fisher.
Mike Fisher. I thought it was Fisher, but I couldn't.
Good-looking guy, too, eh? Good-looking guy.
That's a good-looking couple.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good-looking couple. So that's a big get, man. And I never, switching, talking on this topic about the Ticats throwing events, that's a no-brainer. Wow. Nobody throws them better than Hamilton. Nobody throws them. They just have a way. And it's not about the size of this. It's always special. It's always neat. It's always interesting. If you look at what they're doing with the Grey Cup this year, there's stuff taking place in Niagara at the casino, and there's stuff taking place at these remote different locations and downtown. And now you got First Ontario Centre getting full for Carrie Underwood and more to come. So that was good, man. That got a lot of buzz.
I know you saw the messages I was sending to somebody
we need tickets,
yesterday.
Obviously.
Well,
backstage pass.
Tickets, and then all of a sudden, no, it's not a Ticat venue. No.
We found out pretty quick where we stand.
Yeah, no tickets for that one. But if you want to spend $2.99 and you can get a nice front row, you can pay that. I said, yeah.
That's all right. Like I said, just a meet and greet, eh? We should got to do our show from there or something.
I think we should. You know what? We should do our show from the lobby of Carrie Underwood at the First Ontario place. I think we might do that. Anyway, so on that topic, we have tilted. No, I don't know. Can we say that today? Yeah,
I don't even know what day it is.
I won't say, but tickets I think are going on sale
soon, very soon.
And we should actually look into. I asked Michelle yesterday, my wife yesterday. I said, "Hey, do you want to go to Canal?" I said, "Okay, first of all, before you say no."
Before you say no, it's during. Your wife didn't want to go to dinner, so
no. Before I even said you want to go, it was no. Didn't even know who it was. No, I said it's during Grey Cup week. We're going to be in Hamilton anyway. We're going to be at some festivities. Oh, okay, well, then I'll go then. I said, well, no, I don't have to waste the money on you if you don't want to go. I'll drop you off at my brother Paul's, and then we'll go, and then we'll pick you up after.
No, there's great. It'll be great. I mean, look, having Hamilton in it would be like, the perfect storm. But we're going to go, and we're going to enjoy ourselves regardless. I saw some stuff about the alumni. Did you get that read? Do you get that note from producer Dave?
One of the great events of the Grey Cup Festival.
Do you have it in front of you?
I do. I can read it. It's the Carstar CFL Legends Luncheon. This year it'll be at Leona Station on Friday, November 17th. What a great opportunity to get up close with us, of course. Forget the other guys.
The other guys,
you get some autographs from us. You get them from past alumni all over the league. And then information to get our tickets is go to greycupfestival.ca. That is greycupfestival.ca to get your tickets for the CFL A luncheon.
Nice, buddy. Well done.
Which is really good because, you know what, we went to that last year and it was at...
a couple years ago, when it was here.
2 years ago, when it was at Barton Street across from Delta.
Yes.
That's a big sponsor of the Cats. Not sponsor, but whatever, the bar there. But it was good.
End zone.
That's when Jason Riley went up there and was talking for about 20 minutes, and we almost booed him off the stage just as a joke, but he got mad. Remember? He got mad. I said, we're just kidding around, because he kept talking and talking and talking. And guys were talking louder. The crowd was laughing. God, we gotta have fun.
Gotta have fun.
But what a group. Like, we had some legends there.
Calvillo and Danny Mac and all that. Yeah, there was a good crew.
There was, and I mean the old alumni too, Bobby Krause and
that was during COVID. So imagine what that's going to be like this year when people are out and about and having a good time. Yeah,
I gotta get out and support that. That's a big one. I know we'll be at it.
It's at Leona Station, which is like a beautiful place, right? It'd be big, so that'll be a lot of fun.
And that'll be a good kickoff for that night because last year it was the same. It was on the Friday. This is November 17th on Friday at noon, and we get there, and then we probably stay there for about 2 hours, and then we get out on the town.
Perfect.
Good night. Good times.
I like it. Buttgoat, we got our guest kicking around or what? Oh, he is. No. Okay, Rob, you and I know this guy. This guy came in to our team, partway through kind of the run, right? Just when he came in as a new guy, came in as a character, tough, strong, powerful, good dude. Good dude. And he is going to be, this week, the upcoming game, is going to be the alumnus of distinction for the Ticats. The game happens to take place on Truth and Reconciliation Night, which is extra special for this gentleman. Yep. And us, of course. And it's a pleasure to bring him on the show. We'll see where this thing goes. But without further ado, our good friend, defensive lineman, Mr. Johnny Macdonald. Welcome to the Morreale and Hitch podcast. This must be the highlight of your life. It must be, instantly.
And he's at school.
And he's at school. He's got, I don't know where. Look at that painting. That's beautiful behind you there, buddy. Nice.
Well, yeah, I'm in the Indigenous literature classroom, so trying to frame it up.
You got the snake. You got all the animals.
The snake. That's an eel, pal. That's an eel. Learn your plans.
Listen, Hitch is going to make at least 100 mistakes on this single podcast.
Well, he's in a classroom, so I totally expect I'm going to have to reprimand a little bit and do some corrections, and that's okay, because I've known you guys a long time.
Yes. You can expect very little out of all of us.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. Yeah. Yes, okay. Way to set the tone, my friend. Way to set the tone. Johnny Mac, you have a really cool thing coming up this week with you being the alumnus of distinction on Truth and Reconciliation Night. What does that mean to you, especially now that you're sitting in a classroom and, surrounded with children similar to how you grew up, and being able to teach them kind of, what's next and what to expect and the pathway you've been on? What does this all mean? Like, is this a full circle moment for you? And I know that one of your former students actually designed the new logos for both the Forge and the Ticats, which are outstanding, by the way. Yeah. And just love to hear from you what this all means.
As an Indigenous athlete, guys, being there for Truth and Reconciliation Night is 100% special for me. A lot of people don't know this, but being a role model is very important to me in the community. Obviously, my goal was always to be a teacher, not to be an athlete, right? Playing sports was something I just did, and I did everything I could to be the top athlete that I could. But the ultimate goal was to be a teacher and to be a role model to Indigenous athletes. Growing up in Simcoe, a small town, about half hour away from Six Nations, there weren't many Indigenous people around me. And as you guys know, my identity has always been really important to me, and we had great times talking about it and sharing. But I never really had any role models, any Indigenous role models to sort of model myself off of, and those sorts of things weren't highlighted back when we played. It was they were highlighted by the Indigenous media outlets, but they weren't highlighted by mainstream media. And to see it turn around now, and to see all these great events happening, Truth and Reconciliation events, Orange Shirt Days, you're seeing athletes profiled, and to be one of those is just a real emotional thing for me, and I'm very honored to do it. And it's a very, very great thing, not only for me, but for Six Nations community to see themselves represented on the field by an alumni, and to have their Tiger Cat out and about. So it's just a great thing, guys. Super excited.
John, you're the perfect guy for this. When you first came in, you had us as role models. So don't feel bad that you didn't have you had us as role models.
Well, actually, you say something that's interesting. We talk about role models. As you know, I went to McGill, and I'd never, played with any Indigenous athletes or known about Indigenous football players, but of course, Big Val St. Germain.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I get to McGill, and I look up on the wall, and I see Big Val St. Germain standing with our head coach, Charlie Bally, going to the Shrine Bowl, being that one person represented, being that one guy representing Canada in that, what was it, the East-West game East-West or whatever Shrine. It was. Yep. Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I just couldn't believe that there is not only an Indigenous athlete who went to McGill, but also a guy who was basically a legend like one of the best offensive linemen, first overall pick. And, that was a real big moment for me to see him there and to think, you know what, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to go there next, and I'm going to do everything I can to represent my people so they know we're hardworking people, that we get things done. We're all about team and community and just go after it. So, role models are huge, guys. They're huge.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I know you don't take this lightly. But when you step onto that field, you realize that and you know this already, that there's going to be a bunch of children and everybody for that matter, young and old, men and women, boys and girls, that are going to be very proud of that moment. And it's something that it's taken a long time to kind of come to this position where we can put it out there in the forefront and celebrate it. So I think you know this, but there couldn't be a better person. Like from our perspective as a former teammate and somebody we played with, you always held yourself to the highest class. You are the hardest worker. You were so dedicated to. I remember you being so dedicated to your students. Like teaching was very, very important to you. It's great to see it come back around, buddy. I'm really proud of you, and I know the rest of your community will be, and not just limited to that. I know it'll go spread far further than that. So I'm going to look forward to that, my friend, and congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, now can we make fun of you or do anything? Like, can we move past the niceties or what?
You can do whatever you want. I mean, the kids are working. They're good. They're paying attention. They're laughing over here at me a little bit, but no.
Good.
Tell them they can watch this probably tomorrow, or it should be on tomorrow or the next day. They could watch or listen to it. But John, you've got to talk to us a little bit about your first time coming into the locker room with us. We do this with a lot of guys because, Mike and I were kind of there in 95, 96. Of course, I was there until 07, but Mike did a little hiatus to Toronto a couple times and back. But your first, I guess, coming into Hamilton and, being from Simcoe, coming into Hamilton and knowing the city, how tough it was back in the day, and then getting into the locker room with us and the crew that we had at that time that you came in. Give us your take on, how it went and how you felt as a group when you came in and saw us.
Well, it was a big learning curve for me coming in because, at McGill, we did a penetrating sort of a defensive line strategy. We just basically ran in the backfield, and if they ran into your arms, then you did, right? Then you're doing your job, right? So, and then, when I came in, I had a lot of learning to do, luckily I was able to contribute a little more on the special teams, and you guys are all great at helping me come along that way, playing on the punt team and being on kick return. I never did any of that stuff in university. I only played defensive tackle. So, so in terms of the game part, I had a lot of learning to do, and that first season was quite challenging to me in terms of play. But being with you guys, I mean, man, I can remember, walking into training camp and as a first round draft pick, you're getting the eyes from everybody.
Oh,
right?
You're big money. You're big money. You're big money.
Huge money.
36 grand.
Yeah, wow. Jeez, man. But anyways, I can remember one of the things that stuck out to me was when I remember Hitch. I don't know if you ever ran a 40 when we had training camp, but probably not. But we had to run 40s, and I can remember like T. Shaw and the rest of the defensive linemen. They're looking at me and they're saying, "Okay, what's this kid gonna do?" And I had the big knee brace on because I was just coming off ACL reconstruction, right? So I remember I finished my 40 and I settled down, and then T-Shaw says to me, he goes, "So you got that knee brace working for you?" And I said, "I guess I kind of got it figured out." And I remember, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I didn't. We're bringing back to the Indigenous part, I didn't realize I had characteristics of an Indigenous person until kind of later in life. And I remember Lancaster said one thing about me. He said, "Well, the media asked about John Macdonald at training camp, and they said, well, he's a quiet guy, but he's a tough guy." So I kind of, do you remember that, Hitch? Was I quiet for a first little bit and just didn't sit? Yeah, I kind of just did my thing, worked really hard. Tried to sort of, not step on any toes or get into trouble with you guys. And you guys were all great with me, helping me out. But if you guys get to know me, that, I don't start talking until a little bit later. So, I can recall you guys being lots of fun, and I got grinded a little bit.
I hope so.
We did grind you. We did grind you, but then you took it and you were still quiet about it. And then a few of us were like, now we better watch this guy. We might be coming in the next day with a hammer or something. We got to be careful here.
I blame Donnelly. Donnelly was the guy. So Ryan Donnelly was drafted, was a rookie with me, and and he was, whatever you guys would rip me for something, or we'd get rookied for something, Donnelly would say, "You did something. You did something. That's why they're doing this to us, because you did something." I go, "Buddy, I'm not saying anything, man. It's you who are doing all the stuff, right?"
Yeah. So, it's funny though how you build those relationships, right? Because you got to find somebody that's similar to you. So, hey, who's the other rookie that's getting ripped on here and getting gut punched every so often? Like, what is going on? How do we team up? How do we get through this? Because the only reason, and I speak for all of us, because it certainly wasn't just Rob and I, but like the whole team of veterans that were there, the reason we would, rip on people is because we liked you. Like, we wanted you to fit in to the way we are. We wanted you to know that, we loved you in this really crazy, weird way sometimes. We have a weird way of showing it. But, it was kind of like that rite of passage, without being rude, without being mean, without it just being, knowing that we got each other's back.
Well, when you're a kid,
that was important.
When you're a kid, too, you kind of don't. And I remember the first thing when I came in, Danny Mac would call me kid. Good job, kid. And I'm going, What are you talking about? I'm 23 years old. I'm a man. And in hindsight, that was ridiculous, right? like really. I also, I remember I got interviewed, being from Hamilton. They said to me, you've been your father's been a season ticket holder. What's it like playing for your team? And do you have any heroes on the team? And I say this to Ozzy all the time. I said, you know what? And I was straight serious. I said, you know what? I'd have to say Paulus Baldiston, because I saw him kick the winning field goal in Iverwin when I was 9 years old. and then Ozzy goes to me. He sees it after. He comes to me after. He says, "You prick." And I'm going, "What, Ozzy? Like, you're a hero of mine, man." Yeah.
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're old.
I'm sorry you're old and you look that way. I'm sorry about that. We had some characters, man.
When you look back at it, for me, and same with you, Meets, I don't know if it's like 95 when I came in, Don Souther was the head coach, and then we had guys on that team, Lee Knight, Mike Campbell, Wally's a
Blaine Schmidt.
These guys, Schmitty, Dale Sanderson, like these guys have played in the league a lot before.
Yeah, 10 years before us.
10 years before. So it's the same sort of thing. It just seems like when we were there and then you guys came in, we were those guys that were. But in 95, when I came in, I got crushed.
You got crushed.
I got crushed, Johnny. So you don't feel bad. You got it. I think you got it made compared to what I did. I got my hair cut. I got
taped to the post.
Taped to the post. I got a lot of stuff. But you know what? And again, as Mike alluded to earlier, they did it because they liked us. And
you don't want to waste time on somebody that's not going to be there. I learned that from Darren Flutie. Yeah. Darren didn't know people's names. I said, "Darren, how do you not know this guy's name?" He's like, "Because he probably won't be here." I'm like, "Okay, fair enough."
Well, that was the other thing too. I can remember the first time we had training camp, we're lifting, and you guys knew me. Like I was a numbers guy in the gym. Man, I remember the first time I met Dave Hack, who's a great buddy of mine, and I was fortunate to play with all you guys, like legends of the Ticats, like Hacker and you meet and Hitch and Danny Mac and Oz and Coulter and Joe Montford, Johnny Scott. Like the guys that we played with were just, in hindsight, it's crazy when you think about it. But I remember Dave spotted me, and I was just being me, nonchalantly, quietly, and I put 355 on the bench, and I did about 8 reps. Crazy. And then Dave's just kind of like, okay. So Hitch, I think, when you're like 6'2", 275, squatting 685, and I remember you tend to get it a little less if you just fall in line. You know what I mean? I remember Scott Coe one time when we were traveling on the airplane. I was sleeping. You remember this? He poured a salt packet in my mouth. Yeah. And I walked back. He tried to sneak away. He did it when I was sleeping. And I grabbed Coe. I grabbed Coe, and I smashed his head against the door of the bathroom in the plane. threw him into the door inside the bathroom, and I put his head down. And I'm not going to show kids.
You're getting worked up.
I know. I said, you know what? I'll take this from the veterans, but if the rookie's doing something to me, I'm sending a message that this is not happening.
Yes, and that was the right thing to do because Cole had no business doing that to you.
That's right. Cole had
no business. He had to teach him a lesson.
You guys probably loved it too.
Cole got it though. Cole got it bad too though. So he's just trying to get what he got to you guys. But that's right. I didn't even know. I forgot about that. And you know what? We're gonna have to have him on the show.
There's levels, eh? There's levels. There's levels. At that time, were you and Cole at the same draft year?
Yeah, we were both rookies too. So I was like, "That's it, Cole. You're getting it. Like you don't you don't get to have blonde hair and act like a goofball and even touch me ever."
Yes,
that's how it happens.
This is the Johnny Mac that I love. This is the Johnny Mac that I was. You know, this I don't want to make light of it, but honestly, when you said that comment about Ronnie, about he's quiet but he's tough, like that to me embodies exactly who you are. Like you didn't take any crap. You can get along with the boys, but when it's time to work, it was time to work, and you worked hard in your craft. I mean, I remember you in the gym. You were legendary in the gym.
No, you don't. You weren't in the gym.
I was in the gym. I walked by the gym. I walked by the gym. It looked really hard.
That's one thing I'm trying to instill in my players, like as a football coach now, and they have a hard time learning it, is that you have to have a bit of a beast inside you. Yeah. I mean, you got to have it under control, but you need to have that monster inside you ready to go. So, you know, and there's a reason why football players become firefighters, become police officers, because there needs to be people in society that get it done and are brave when it hits the fan, right? Yeah. So, I try to teach that to my athletes too. We learned the squat last week. We're learning the deadlift. These grade 9s here, they're learning those things, right? But I say to them, listen, when you're on the bar, you're in the game. And you got to have a different mindset, and you got to be a different person. So, that's part of a whole life philosophy about not just about football, but also about, when you're in the workplace, when you're doing the stuff, you got to turn on the switch. That's the way it is, right? So,
I agree, but I think you need Meetsy and I to come into your gym and actually show them how to work out. And actually, I could show them what I did in a workout. Chest and buys. That's all you need to do.
No calves.
Well, Hitch, we do have trainer bars, so those are 15 pounds. They're lighter for the kids, so they'll be perfect for you, buddy.
Hey, you do 10 sets at 100, you get ripped.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
So talk a bit more, Johnny, about coaching and what you're doing in the football team and the kids you got, and what that's like in your school.
Well, we're at a smaller school in Brantford. Our numbers are about 900 to 1,000, but we do have an active special education program, so that takes away about 100 kids away from what the size would actually be for an athletic school. And the rest of the schools in Brantford are about 1,300 to 1,700. We're also classified as not an inner city school, but we have significant challenges at our school. Right. We have kids from the country, sort of on the north side of the Grand River. We also have kids from, inner city Brantford. So we have a really diverse mix of kids, and often they don't play community football and don't play community sports. So it's really an introduction to sport at my school. We don't play in the Brantford Loop. We play against Waterford, Simcoe, Delhi, sort of the schools under 1,000 people. And that was a major learning curve for it. We run a varsity program here, so in the fall we're 9 to 12, and in the spring we're in grade 9 and 10. So it really becomes development. Like in the spring we only go grade 9 and 10s for 4 weeks, and then we play a controlled scrimmage, kind of like the red and black game like we used to do. And so it's just about offense and defense. And it's really an introduction to the game, introduction to safe tackling, and then that gets them ready for the fall, right?
Right.
So we've moved to this model. It's our third year of it. It's my fourth year as head coach. We've moved to sort of the second tier league, and last year we won the championship, which was the first time in 16 years. Yeah. So
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we've had a lot of success. My coaching pathway, right when I was done with the Ticats, I went to Waterford and I taught there, and I taught Shane Bergman, if you know that name. I coached Shane Bergman. Yeah. I walk in, there's a kid that's 6'7", 305 pounds, and I'm going, oh my God, look at this guy. So, and also at Pauline Johnson at this school here. So we do manage to put together and bring in a good set of coaches. My defensive coordinator played at McGill with me. His name's Steve Caldwell. He's great with us. We've had Dakota Brush, who's a former player. Yep. who played fullback and slot back for BC and for Ottawa. Also, Mike Neville's played here, who I coached. He was a quarterback for Laurier years back, and his twin brother David, who's now playing for the BC Lions. So we take a lot of pride in, we don't always have success every single year because, of course, it depends on numbers and years of experience and things like that. But we take pride in educating our kids about the game, helping them understand the concepts that, are the basic ones they need to learn, and then go for success through there, right? So it's been a real learning curve here. Every year we have to reteach a lot of things for our students, but they love football. Like this at this school. Right. A lot of people say, Mr. Mack, football's a cult. We have 62 kids on the roster right now.
What? That's great.
We got 62 kids on the varsity football roster, and that's probably like 10% of the boys in the athletes in the entire school, the boys in the entire school, maybe even more.
Those are good numbers. I mean, because we hear a lot about numbers dipping or no junior team, and then to get that level of numbers and for you to teach them, I think is a great concept, right? Because it's a sport it's tough, and you can't walk in without having an understanding of what the game is, not even from an understanding, but just from a physical point of view, right? So a lot of lessons are learned on those fields, my friend. You know that, so I'm sure that they have, both in victory and defeat, have got to experience some cool things.
Well, we make it a football experience too, right? The Ticats are always great. They always give us free tickets to one game a year. Usually when David's playing, we go and see it, and we all go and attend. We have pregame meals the night before the game. We structure practice. We try to make everybody busy at the same time, because the last thing people want to do is sit around, do nothing, right? So, yeah.
Why don't we get them to this game for you? What about?
Listen. They're out there. It's already figured out. So we're doing something.
You think they didn't think of this already?
I don't know.
Do you think that this?
I don't know.
But listen to this, boys. This is great. So on Friday, we're doing something here called the Every Child Matters game. So we're playing McKinnon Park from Caledonia, where a lot of Six Nations kids play. The coaches on the sideline wear orange. The players all wear orange armbands. We have an elder opening the game. We have drummers at halftime. We're warming up to Indigenous music, and it's a buyout for the whole school. We got Six Nations schools coming here. We got McKinnon Park bringing a bus of kids, so they're going to watch too in our stadium. And when Matty Afnick, who also went to McGill, a great friend of mine, when he found out we were doing this game, he invited both teams to the game in their jerseys, and they're going to be out there with me when I'm introduced at the start. So that it's such a positive thing, and those little details build football programs, right? Yeah. Doing events like that are what build programs and make people want to play. So it's a whole experience, right? You got to work hard at things, or you're not going to have success. Put in the extra effort.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I mean, that's bringing everybody together, right? And games on national television in front of tens of thousands of people, and it just those little things matter. They really do. So that's great. I'm glad the Cats have, and I knew they would. Like, I knew that they take this seriously, and I know that Matt would be thinking more than just this single event. That he'd be thinking about how do we make this into something to celebrate, and let's hope those kids can come out and experience even Grey Cup. Later on in the year, maybe there's opportunities. Now that there are more things happening, that we can get more people involved, and there's nothing better than the sport of football to bring people together.
No.
If you remember years ago, we did have a bit of involvement locally. Remember the opening of the Grey Cup when we had here with the Elder? A good friend of mine, Leroy Hill, he did that opening, and those football players, Indigenous football players that were out there, one was from my school, and I helped bring the rest of them out there too. So that was a great experience, seeing those Native kids out there, being on the field for the opening and the land acknowledgement and all that stuff. I was just so proud to see that happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great, man. We're so proud of you. We're looking forward to the game as well. But we got to get your take on. We got to spin off a little bit here and talk about the Cats this year. What's your take on these guys? I mean, we just talked about it before you came on, Johnny, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but we're positive. We just said there's the culture, and I don't think they just created an identity yet this year on who they are as a group, because they come out one game against BC, kick the crap out of them, then they beat Winnipeg, and then they get slaughtered by another team. I know there's just the consistency and the flow is just kind of not there. And again, quarterback we talked about, but what's your take on? I know you've been following and watching and been at games, so what's your take on it?
Well, you're right. I mean, what's the identity of this team? Like I don't know what team. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know what team I'm going to see any given week, right? So, consistency with moving the ball. We have some excellent players on defense, I think, but it's just like you said. Like sometimes they just seem confused, right? I mean, and one of the things I preach to my team is you got to know what you're doing. You have to do your homework. You have to understand what's going on and know what the other team's going to do before they do it, right? I mean that was always, as an undersized guy, that's what I always prided myself on is getting into film, understanding what's going on, and then having that idea of what was going to happen before it's going to happen. And I think with the combination of youth and experience that this team has, that maybe they haven't learned that yet. Maybe that's the issue. And I mean, especially at defensive back, in the CFL, man, Hitch, I'm texting Sandy Beveridge all the time, asking him about adjustments for coverages, asking about what he thinks about.
That's wrong. Shouldn't have done that.
I should text you, Hitch. Yeah, but the thing is, Hitch, Sandy will actually respond. So
Fair enough.
I would text you, but
Fair enough.
Truer words never spoken.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome.
So no, those adjustments, you just have to be on the same page with all the motion and all the adjustments that have to happen, and alignment, assignment, execution. That's the name of the game, man. And and I don't know if they're there yet. There has been times when they've been there, but against a team like Toronto last week, man, like it just seems like they could have done whatever they wanted, and that's what's disheartening, right, for me as an alumni, and I think they got to hit the books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You got to play with speed, and the only way to play with speed is to know exactly what's going on, right? Yeah. And there's that whole misnomer of football players being unintelligent or dumb or whatever you want to. I mean, sure, there's dumb people everywhere, no doubt about it. But if you want to excel, you have to understand the game and your role and everyone else's role in the game. And when you have and a lot of it has to go with, young people in and out. A lot of young people, or young players come here. Sometimes Americans come here with a misunderstanding of the level of talent and what it takes to succeed here and the dream to go back to the NFL, but they forget they got to put their effort in here. And I'm not suggesting that that's happening, but the combination of that and youth and finding your way and losing your quarterback and things just not going your way, it's tough. Like it can make for a long season. That can all be corrected with some wins, which is the craziest thing. You can change this thing and turn it around, but it's got to happen fast. Yeah,
the old cliche of all phases have to be clicking to win games, and defense one week and special teams are great. Offense isn't scoring. Next week, offense is scoring, defense is giving up 30. There just hasn't seen the consistency of it's tough when you can play all three phases of the game. But I look at Winnipeg, Toronto. Those guys are all phases of the game, and that's why they're being successful right now. And if you can just get that at least two of those phases, and then have a little bit of work on the offense or the D to stop somebody and give them a break and get them out there again. You know how it is on D. I mean, we talked about it earlier too, Johnny. I remember back in the day when Danny Mac threw 32 picks in the Grey Cup here. Like, who cares? Threw the pick, walked off the field. We went and got one and went and did our job. So I think it was just more of again, it was a little bit different defenses. The communication, I think, is a bit of a breakdown out there. I'm not out there on the field looking, and I can't hear anything, but it just seems like, especially in the defensive backs, that they're playing off so much. There's a lot of underneath routes. They're playing some zones. When they get into man, they're not communicating, and they're getting some big plays on them. But that happens, everywhere. It's just, I think the communication barrier's got to change. And I remember when I was playing with Gerald Vaughn and Coach O and Frank West, and we had some unbelievable defensive backs and linebackers. I would just get back there and start yelling, you guys got that, and boom, and we'd play, and everybody knew where everyone was on the field, and that's what I'm not seeing in there. And that takes some time to build, but.
Well, I was just thinking, I had a kid say to me the other day, when they saw the highlight came out that was on Instagram of different things that I was doing, they said, because it's been so long now, they're like, I can't believe you actually did anything. And they said that to me. I go, oh, well, thanks. It's really nice of you to say that. But in hindsight, I said, well, number one, back in the day, so not only did I play my position, I played special teams, and I had to back up on the O-line. We only had 55 guys. Imagine what it's like having 70 guys on a roster, and everybody's got to get some reps, and everybody's got to know everybody else, and everybody's got to be consistently on the same page. I don't know how practice is run now with that many guys, and I don't think we would really know what that looks like in the pro levels either, because we just – we had a first group and a second group and maybe a few practice roster guys. But imagine if you can't be with the same crew, or you have injuries and you're rolling in and out and stuff like that. I think we played injured back in the day more than they did. So,
oh God, yeah.
Of course. So the benefit was that even though we were injured, we were all on the same page, and we could get those adjustments. And maybe we were a little slower because we were hurt, but at least we knew that what so and so would do and what so and so would do. So I think. Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but I think back in the day, we kind of were really, really conscious of each other and how we played and our tendencies and what the other team was going to do. So maybe that's something that's dropped off. I hope it hasn't, because because the mental part of the game, like you guys said, you can't not know what you're doing and win.
No, John, you're a smart guy. I like the way you think. I've always liked the way you think. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, be careful what you wish for. Coaches want more players to play with, more players to have access to, but then it erodes the camaraderie in a way, because there's people in and out and in and out and in and out. We used to see that in teams that lose. Remember, it'd be time for NFL cuts, and then 12 guys would roll into town, and then it would just disrupt whatever was still there. So there's some work to do. Johnny, you're going to help them, buddy. Get that started before the opening kickoff this week. Congratulations on being the alumnus of a distinction. Congratulations on being on the Morreale and Hitch podcast, which is one of the greatest achievements. You can also now, because of this, walk into the Roar store and take whatever you want. That's just any guest on the show. Just take whatever you want. Just if they don't, if you say Morreale and Hitch, they say no. Just put on half next tab, right? And everything will be fine. Yeah. Well, it's been done for years. I
appreciate it, guys. We see each other constantly at different events, and being in here talking about football is just a pleasure. So thanks for having me on here, guys. And hey, guys, give a wave to the kids. They can't see you, but so thank you, kids, for being patient and giving up your teacher for about a half hour.
Absolutely, they probably loved it. They probably loved it.
I don't know. I see a lot of phones right now.
Okay, with that, hold on. We're going to say goodbye. Hold on for a second. We need to get something uploaded. But from myself and Rob and Johnny Mac and David Butko, and hopefully one day Carrie Underwood, who, Butko, you got to get her on the show. This is the Morreale and Hitch podcast, and on the Ticats Audio Network. Go Cats, go.
That's another episode of Morreale and Hitch on the Ticats Audio Network. Have a question or a comment for them? Email us at manh@ticats.ca. That's MANDH@ticats.ca.